Hey everyone, I'm Airwingmarine. Welcome back to the channel on my next Escape from Tarkov video. I just recently got my hideout skills maxed out, so we'll do a quick video and jump into what that means and what that does. So I kind of lied. We're going to talk a little bit more here about something else real quick. I want to throw it at the front of the video because I don't usually do it. I want to thank the Patreons. We got a pretty good group of guys going over there that help support the stream. Those guys help fund these videos. They help fund the projects and the equipment that I use to do these shoots. So thank you to those guys at the Patreon. Their names, you can see them there. Those guys are awesome. Also, we have merch now. I'm wearing one of them here. I've got another couple of shirts. Probably see it down below on the YouTube. If not, airwingmarine.com. It's all there if you're interested in any of that stuff. But that's all I'm going to hawk on that, and we'll get right into the video. All right, so what does max hideout skills actually mean? It means I got to level 51 in both crafting and hideout management. Now, if you're new to the game, these skills do a couple of things inside your hideout, and we'll go look at them here real quick. So all the way at the bottom of your skills here, character screen skills, you've got crafting. Now what this does is gives you 0.75% per level of a decrease in crafting time. So you can see that big time in my hideout with some of my other skills or with some of my crafts here. Like let's look at the hot rod craft, for example, right? I'm only 3 hours and 16 minutes. Somebody who doesn't have this, I forget what it is, but it's like it's over 4 hours. So it cuts a whole hour out of this craft. And with the bigger crafts like Lucky Scav junk boxes and the grenade cases and stuff, it actually takes a pretty good chunk of time out of these. I'm 32% done here and I'm 4 hours and 48 minutes. So you've got a pretty good, pretty quick way to craft some of these things as you get that skill leveled up. Now, on top of that, it also does a reduction in the cyclic time of production of crafts, which does not include bitcoins. It does not make you make bitcoins faster. But for example, the water collector. So instead of taking that full time, it shaves 37.5% off the time it takes to make purified water out of the water collector. And then once you reach elite, you get the ability to craft two things at once, which is what you guys saw here, where I was crafting, both a Lucky Scav junk box and a grenade case. And that's pretty much what I do now. I've always got a Lucky Scav junk box crafting. I just, between crafts, I make sure I buy up a mag case from Mechanic each time I can at $289,000, quite a bit cheaper in the market. Make sure I buy my other materials cheaper. And I've always pretty much got a mag case running. And then when, I get fuel containers, I'll make grenade cases or anything else in here that's making money, which, I talk about those in my hideout crafting videos. Now, one of the downsides to this, to having two crafts, is it takes an enormous amount of materials to keep up with it. If you want to keep this thing going and keep things crafting constantly, right now I have a Lucky Scav junk box that's almost full of just materials. And I go to make sure and I buy my materials at the lower end prices so I get good crafts and I don't have to think about it. But you can see how much money I have dumped into here. It's millions and millions of rubles sitting in that Lucky Scav junk box. And honestly, I'm probably gonna end up getting a second one and start filling it with more items too, so I have more of a selection of crafts as I see cheap items pop up on the flea market. But this is personal preference. If you don't want to craft that busy, you don't have to worry about it. It's useful because you can craft one long thing and then craft one short thing and then not even think about it otherwise. Or, some people craft green gunpowders and then turn those into BP ammo, or 7N31, or they'll craft reds and make those an M61, just kind of depending on what they're doing in the game and where they want to spend their time and energy. Now for the second skill, hideout management, it's a little bit different here. So this one, you get 1 point per level, and it increases the bonuses you get from your hideout, as well as decreases, you get 0.5% per level in decreasing the consumption rate of filters, fuel, things like that. So basically consumables. So if you go look in the hideout here, you can compare mine to yours. I've got a scav cooldown timer that's 52.5, which means my scav comes back half as fast as somebody with a no level 3 intel center. The flea market commission's huge. It's really cheap for me to list stuff, especially big ticket items, graphics cards and things like that. I listed a graphics card today for a little over 1.5 million, and it only cost me like 120,000 to list it, or 115. It was dirt cheap. So it's a huge advantage there. But it also plays in with the library, which you get some pretty good bonuses out of here with raid experience and leveling your practical skills. It does not, however, affect the solar power. This still sits at 50%. Last wipe it did, and it was crazy because once you got max hideout management and you had a solar power, it was like 3 months you didn't have to touch the fuel in your generator once you filled it up, which is Where we're at now, you can see here, I've got like 486 hours with, 5 units burned out of this. But that's the other thing that Hideout Management does. Once you get max Hideout Management, like we were saying, it decreases the consumption rate of filters and stuff. But once you get elite, you get 2 slots in all of your consumable locations and the Bitcoin farm. So instead of 1 slot in your purified water, in your water collector, you get 3 slots now. So you can put 3 filters in there. In the FP100, the air filter thing, where you put your FP100s, you get 5 there. You go from 3 to 5. In your generator, you go from 6 to 8 things of fuel. And then on your Bitcoin farm, you go from 3 to 5. So if we go look at my Bitcoin farm here, I can hold 5 Bitcoins before I fill up. Now, the crazy thing with the fuel, for one, is with this full, it's almost 3 weeks. It's a little over 20 days of fuel that I have in here. And that's huge. The fuel crisis didn't last that long. The fuel crisis, the shortage, or whatever you want to call it, the BSG instituted. You could essentially ride one of those out and never even have to think about fuel. I can buy, I don't even have to buy a thing from Jaeger every other day. I can buy one every 3rd day, and that's what I do. I just buy one every 2nd or 3rd day whenever I see the first one getting empty, and I swap it out, and boom, I've got another full. I don't even have to worry about it. The air filter, the bonuses there aren't all that big of a deal. I don't usually fill this up. I throw in one in for a day, each day that it runs out, so I'm not burning money when I'm not playing. But I guess it's handy if you just want to fill it up and not think about it for a couple of days. The water is actually super cool and super helpful, because what happens here, and I don't have one in my inventory, and I'll show you, but when you only have one, when this runs out, your water production stops, right? Well, with 3 in here, this one burns up and it switches to this one. So you just keep creating. So as long as you're there to collect your purified water, you get purified water and you're not running out of filters. And then again, lastly, the 2 Bitcoin, additional Bitcoins. What this does is this makes it basically every 37 hours, I don't have to touch my Bitcoin farm. It'll fill up. It takes a little over 37 hours, and then I've got to collect. But once a day, which is what I usually play, being a streamer and a content creator, is good enough for me. Now, this does change the math for some people. If you get this and you don't, you've got your cards dialed into the point you want to be, because that's how often you can collect. This is going to change that a little bit, because now you could technically put more cards in and meet that same time frame before you fill up. And if you want to see more about that, go check out my Bitcoin video, Bitcoin farm video I did a deep dive, looked at all the math. It's changed. The math has changed a little bit since then, but there's a spreadsheet that you can use to adjust and do whatever you want. So don't hesitate to go check that out, and hopefully help you out make a decision on your Bitcoin and how many cards you have in there. Now, one of the most common questions I get in the last week or so is how long it took me to get these skills leveled up. So when BSG fixed the bug that was causing skills to roll back, I was right around level 33, 34 on both of these. From there, it took me about a week to get the remaining 18 skill points. And if you really grind, you can do it faster than that. But you've really got to grind hard. You got to spend a lot of money, and it's kind of brutal to do, to be honest. And if you want to see how to do that, if you want to see how to power level skills, I have a video for that as well. You can go, a whole bunch of self-promotion here, but I don't want these videos to go to waste. If you haven't seen them, you can go check that out. I walk through the crafts, which ones are best to craft or most efficient, which ones make you money but still level you. I break all of that down so you can make the decision for yourself on what's best to do. And that's the principles that I followed to get to where I'm at, to where I have maxed hideout skills before much anything else. I think I have maxed endurance, but that's just because I ran a lot of shoreline for a while. Not max strength yet or max anything else. So it's definitely attainable for a lot of people, because you don't have to play hundreds and hundreds of hours to get it. You can do it. There's a couple of ways you can do remote desktops and do this while you're at work. You set a couple of crafts during the day, craft while you're playing, and you can achieve this. So it's definitely achievable by your regular players. Well, that wraps up the video. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit that like button, because it helps out the channel a bunch, and subscribe for future content. We also have a Discord, links down in the description, that you can come join. We're filling up with a bunch of chill people who just love to play Tarkov. If you're looking to support the channel in other ways, we've launched a Patreon with some benefits like access to a Discord channel, constantly updated spreadsheet for my hideout calculations, and some other things if you want to go check it out over there. Lastly, thanks for your support on YouTube. It means the world to me, and I greatly appreciate every one of you. So with that, we'll wrap it up, and we'll see you in Tarkov.